Good afternoon, and welcome to our session, Future Technologies in OCP, Shaping the Future. My name is Lesya Dymyd, and I'm the chair of the OCP Future Technologies Symposium.
And I'm Allan Smith. I'm the chair of the Open Compute Project Future Technologies Initiative, which will explain the difference between symposium and initiative in a little bit.
Yeah, so this is going to be an interactive session. We want to hear your questions, so feel free to raise your hand and interrupt at any stage of our presentation. So Allan, can you tell me how did it all started?
Sure. So some of my background, for those that don't know me, I came from NASA. So I was part of the team that helped build the commercialization of the small satellite market. So when I joined the IT industry and came to OCP the first time, I said, oh, wow, you have everyone here besides some kind of symposium element or some kind of academic element. What we used in our space communities was we had a day dedicated to conferences like this, where we would invite the promising academic researchers, the startups, the laboratories to present kind of where the future was headed. We used that for recruiting purposes to bring people into the space industry. And I went to the leadership of OCP at the time. This was, Jeff, I think early 2018. Early 2018, so January of 2018, and said, hey, why doesn't this thing exist, like a symposium type element? And they said, great, go build that. So we had 3 months, because we used to hold this global summit in March of that year. So I had 3 months to pull together some research papers affecting data center hardware, and off we went. So we started out as a little symposium ride-along event to our global summits and our regional summit events. And we started to build a community of collaborative research and start to get some real talent and technologies pointed at the problems of the future of OCP. So then 2 years ago, I think.
In November 2019, I joined.
In November 2019, Lesya joined, and so then we started to understand there was symposium events, there was definitely webinar opportunities for us, but the OCP Incubation Committee wanted to see more concerted R&D collaborative effort around some big, hairy problems that OCP, the industry, was facing. So we stood up the Future Technologies Initiative to be that kind of larger umbrella. You can think of it like a project at the OCP level, and then we still run these symposium events as these kind of very specific call for papers and review of papers and best award papers. And then in the initiative, we're building the actual work of a collaborative long-term research and development communities.
So as you see, several years after, we have OCP Future Technologies Initiative and OCP Future Technologies Symposium. So today, we are proposing you to hear about what we do at FTI and FTS, what are our missions, what are the processes, how we work, with whom we work, and how, the most important, how to succeed in the FTS.
So like we talked about, Future Technologies Initiative is the kind of broader overarching umbrella of the work we do with collaborative research communities. You can read the words on the slide, so I won't read them. We focused on the bolded language to kind of bring your attention to those. But generally, you can think of this as if there's not work that's happening today in a project, it's kind of more in the 2-year plus, 3 to 5 year plus time frame. And it is some level of alignment, so we agree as an industry that these are things facing us. And I'll show you some examples of the work streams that we have in a little bit. But that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to kind of build communities around collaborative R&D and bring more people into the industry here.
And just a couple of words about our mission. We want to focus on innovation. We want to identify the emerging opportunities in our industry. We are focused on the technology because we want to build the technology that can scale up and that can be adopted by the OCP communities and its members. But at the same time, we also focus on people because you are the talents, you are the skills and capability that can make these technologies happen. And together with you, we can build the future of data centers. Allan, back to you.
Yeah, so these are the work streams we've been asked to take on so far, and we're announcing a new one today, so I'm about to bring Yang up. Is Yang here? Yang from Samsung? Okay, I can talk to his slides if he's not here. I should have texted him. Oh no, that's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow, exactly. This was a teaser for tomorrow event.
Too many talks for giving, I apologize. So at the end of 2020, the incubation committee and the board approached us about these 3 work streams at the top that you see. So AI, hardware, software, co-design. So think about this as a collaborative opportunity for our industry. AI, hardware, software, we basically are talking about everything that we're talking about. As far as technologies, we could even include rack, because we're starting to get into cooling solutions with 600-watt GPUs and potentially 1,000-watt GPUs. We're talking networks, we're talking fabric, we're talking data center facilities even at some point. So AI is everything. And then if you think about the companies that are going to be working on these problems, we're just in proprietary nature of the workloads that are at each company. So what we were asked is to embark on a long-term, how do we start to carve off the potential collaboration areas here for us as an industry? To give you an example of the type of sloggy work this is, the first year, so by the end of 2021 at these stages, we presented a system diagram of what we understood AI, hardware, software, co-design to be. That was intentionally to say, this is what we agree upon of the frame that we are solving for, and here are some opportunities that we see to benchmark, collaborate, and point academia and startups to these problems. But these are very long-term efforts. The cloud serviceability model. Again, everyone's running their own hardware or some level of grouping of those hardwares, trying to figure out the common telemetries, the common diagnostics, and then how we access them and creating some level of interface into our custom proprietary operating systems and control systems. So this is long-term work that we're working on. Please, we invite you to join and you'll hear, and we have the whole afternoon dedicated to updates from these work streams. So we have actual working groups happening. Very, very proud to announce that we are graduating our first work stream. And we've announced that George did, the CEO this morning. So software-defined memory is becoming MCS, CMS? Oh, I don't know the acronym anymore, but the idea is generally we've now figured out that software-defined memory is about performance in memory, and so we are now a sub-project underneath the server mainstream, and they're doing a lot of CXL work within that. Just to kind of give you an idea, a frame of reference of how proud we are of this, when we took on that work stream, we were even trying to figure out throughout 2021 what we understood software-defined memory to be. And now, after what we kind of had set off on a 3 to 5 year plus work stream, we've made enough progress, we've made enough benchmarks, we've got enough of the industry aligned around things like CXL and benchmarking and spec that we are ready to start to head toward productization in an OCP sub-project. So we've just really, really paved the way there, and a lot of that credit is due to Manoj Wadekar, who's been the tech chair for that work stream. We're very proud of that work. And now we have, we're ready to announce another additional work stream. So computational storage is going to be something that we are kicking off tomorrow. And we have Yang Ki from Samsung that we'll bring onto the stage. So if you have the chance in the lower concourse, we'll be announcing these things at Symposium. The key thing I want to land here is these aren't about actual product lines. This is not about like Samsung saying, oh, we have a computational storage product. We're actually starting to think about how do we upend the architectures of how do we design these systems. What I've observed as a kind of newcomer to this industry about 6 years now is we always start with the processors, right? Our flops, our teraflops. What we're starting to examine with this is where do we position data based on the application need. That's really what we're doing, is we're starting to forge a wedge into this opportunity of evaluating system architecture from a different starting point than just flops and teraflops and power and efficiency that we do. So I'm super excited about that work stream, and I actually think there's opportunity to potentially graduate that into the work that Manoj is doing, and ultimately that becoming its own project at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, if you want to get involved, go ahead, Lesya.
Yes. So if you are just curious about what we do at FTI, or if you want to really get involved, you can go to the OCP webpage. We have our presence on the project side with the Future Technologies Initiative, and you can read on a specific separate page for each of the working groups how to get engaged, what is it about, and who is the leader.
Okay, 2023 and beyond, this is the exciting stuff. Again, these are very long-term efforts that we're making, and I can see that the new leadership in OCP is just wanting to double down on the R&D work that we're doing in FTI. So we're launching computational storage. we actually just decided today that we think we have enough headway to announce an optical interconnect architecture. I've got a little bit of work to do before the end of the year, but I think we will make that announcement before the end of the year. And they're asking me to look into things like quantum. Like, how would we start to interface our classical and accelerator programs into quantum? How do we start to look at virtualization of machines? That is likely like a 10-year effort that we're talking about. So I'm just kind of pretty excited and probably sprouting new gray hairs while I'm on the stage here. And then one of the things that you'll hear from us tomorrow, and you can definitely reach out to Lesya on, is we would love to continue to figure out how to engage a little more with the community. We're just starting to pick up steam and we're starting to 3X in all these directions. But we've largely done that just kind of on the side without anybody's real noticing us and without anybody asking for any approval and kind of breaking some things along the way. I think that the next phase of our impact is actually going to be getting people in the room, getting them involved in these work streams, joining and being part of our program committee that Lesya will talk about a little bit with our call for papers, making sure we're pointed in the right directions when we're reaching into academia and startups. Generally, any involvement we can have, the usefulness of this community is the usefulness to our industry members. And we've really built this thing kind of on our own as a silo and just show up every few months and kind of update what we've been doing. That's worked to date. I think the next part, we actually need to be working very closely with you all. So just, if you'd like to get involved, please come and find me or Lesya. Please go to the website. Please join our mailing list. But I think the next phase, we're really going to need you all to actually have impact in the industry.
Yes. And before we move to the symposium, I want to ask, do you have any questions regarding the Future Technologies Initiative? Please.
This morning they announced the sustainability top-level project. Does it have any impact on your future efforts? Then it looks like you have some kind of pilot program and then it matures into a, let's say, mainstream program.
Okay, so Lesya will talk a little bit about how it's showing up in FTS, but basically it's a central theme. Even at tomorrow's summit, we have a track that's around sustainability and data center efficiency. You can think about very specific technologies, so things like heat reuse. That might be something if we don't feel like we have enough progress or we have enough alignment around the industry or we can meet the efficiency metrics, whatever, all those tenets of OCP, then we could start that in OCP FTI as a work stream. So generally, because we're becoming a little more formalized and starting to scale in all these directions, we're going to follow some level of alignment with OCP project entrance criteria. So we'll need to meet 3 out of the 4. So the sustainability is really interesting because it's table stakes. We won't even be considered for an FTI workstream unless we can demonstrate how we're working towards sustainability. And then out of the other 4, I'm not going to get these off the top of my head: efficiency, scale, openness, yeah, impact. Okay, we got to be able to meet 3 out of those 4 in addition to demonstrating our effort towards sustainability. And we have to make sure we're not stepping on toes of the incubation committee, any work that's happening with the projects already. So we'll have to stay closely aligned when it comes to sustainability with the project lead there to make sure that things are happening at the right level that they need to. Great question, thank you so much.
And I'm going to make a second teaser for tomorrow's event because the general topic of the symposium this year is data center sustainability. So technological tracks and all the submissions have a specific focus across different technological tracks and breakout sessions is to focus on sustainability in one aspect or another. So now, what is OCP, Future Technologies Symposium? It's a forum where we invite people from academia, industry, and startups to present their future technologies. And there is a specific process how we do that. So this process includes 6 main steps. So we start from the call for papers. This year, we had the call for papers that came in April with a specific announcement of the technological tracks. We had 5 technological tracks and requirements for the submission. So what you need to do is to read these call for papers, identify your technological track, and see what kind of requirements are necessary to submit and participate in the call for papers. So when the submission period is closed, this means that we can no longer accept the papers. You need to apply before the deadline, of course, otherwise you won't be qualified. The third process is a peer review process. We guarantee that each submission will be reviewed at least by 3 different experts. And when I say experts, those are people from the academia and industry that will review your submissions and will provide the feedback and guidance and recommendation how to improve your technology or how to improve your submission. So we work with a program committee, we work with invited experts. I will talk a little bit more about this, but anybody of you who has a specific technological knowledge in a specific field can apply for these positions and help us make this review, either at the program level, program committee level, or as an invited expert. The fourth important aspect of this process is a metrics. So I always get questions, so how do you analyze all these papers? What are the metrics? How do you measure? And we have 3 main factors. Innovation, but let's talk about the degree of novelty. How novel is that technology that you are proposing or submitting? Technical feasibility, is it feasible and when? We focus on technologies that can be done 3 or 5 years from now, so we do not focus on short-term, near-to-market solutions. And we also focus on future technologies that can be applied and adopted by the OCP community. So innovation, feasibility, and applicability. We have the scoring, but at the same time, we also have the qualitative approach. So we try to not only see what are the scores, how maximum do you rank on the scoring rubric, but also how relevant is that for our community and for the future technologies. Then we have the decision notification process. So once the peer review finished, when the FTS team has made the final review process, we notify our authors about the decision. So your submission can be either accepted for a presentation and poster, which means you kind of really made a great job and you will be invited to the event, or you can be accepted for poster-only session. This means that you will need to deliver the poster, and this poster will be exposed during the Global Summit and the Symposium. We also provide the feedback to the presentation. So once you submitted the poster and presentation, we will review them. We will provide the feedback and comments just to ensure that we run the good quality papers and we run the good event. And you have a great experience that you can see tomorrow.
It doesn't mention anything about awards in there.
No, the awards will come later. So you will ask, who are those program committee and why do we need them? So for this year event, the program committee consists of 4 people. We have Nicole from Berkeley National Lab. She's running data center efficiency and sustainability technology track. We have James from Meta, who runs networking track. We have C-Mac. You probably saw his presentation just before us. He's from Google. He runs a system and power technology track. And we have Manisha. She's running HPC, and she's now with Samsung. So these are experts that help us to create the content, to reach out to different audience, academia, industry, and startups. And then they review the submissions. And they also help us to understand what are the future of this specific technological area that they are running. We also have expert committee, as I mentioned earlier, that help reach out to different people and that help to review the submission together with the program committee. And we also running the call for program committee. So this year we made the announcement about the open position for program committee. We received a lot of good interest. We had 30 candidates and we selected 4. So if you will hear from us for the next event, if you will hear from us the opportunity to join as a program committee, feel free to apply and send your interest.
Yeah, I think one thing we can talk about is we talked earlier about the optical interconnect architecture being a potential work stream that we're taking on. You're going to see 2 or 3 papers that are very interesting new technologies in optical interconnect. So for example, there's optical interconnect using LED technology over 10-meter forms. So you're not using wavelengths anymore, you're using light-emitting diodes. Very interesting technology in an AI ML application where you're stacking racks together. You don't need to go 10 meters. So just things like that that aren't things we're doing today that start to inform even these work streams and what the potential of them could be. So any way that you're interested to get involved, this is a great place to start, is these kind of call for papers and where should we be pointing our efforts towards.
Before I move to the next part, any questions on the process and how do we operate? I think we have a question.
Yeah, just a quick question. I was curious about the statistics for this particular event. Like how many papers did you get submitted and how many did you accept?
Yeah, so for this event, we received 60 submissions. 27 submissions has been accepted for posters, presentations, and posters. So we have a total acceptance of 27 papers.
How many presentations are tomorrow?
So 11 presentations, and the rest are the posters only session. And I should say that this year was a very good year for us. We received a lot of submissions, but unfortunately we couldn't accept all of them because of the time constraints, because of the breakout sessions in the afternoon, which is a good indicator for us. So we probably will run a longer event next year. So how to succeed and how to apply? As I mentioned, we do have a specific process and specific format for this particular event. When I review papers that I receive from you, sometimes I see that the requirements were not read or not properly understood. So this is why I would like to explain what we expect from you as a first step of the submission process. So we need to receive from you a 2-page paper in the IEEE format. So you see here an example of the best paper from the last year. It should be in a similar format, in the IEEE format with a novel technology. You need to include the methodology, the list of authors, the reference, and I would recommend that you also include some links or QR code and contact information so people can reach out to you if they are interested to learn more. We have information about the submission process on our website as well as on the mailing list and in the call for papers. So you have these requirements stated in different sources of information, so please read them carefully and apply. So in that way you will avoid multiple back and forth with our team, because sometimes we do receive great papers, but if they are not in the right format, unfortunately we will need to reject them. The second thing is that poster. You need to deliver a poster if you accept it for presentation and poster, or if you accept it only for a poster session. This means that there are strategies how can you deliver a successful and effective poster. You should use a template. So Future Technology Symposium have templates for presentation and for poster. You need to clearly explain the technology. You need to organize it in a very readable way, break out into the sections, indicate authors, and also add the contact information. This exercise is very often made by people who are in the academia. If you're a student, researcher, professor, we have experience of doing the posters. But if you're coming from the industry or from startups, you don't necessarily know how to make research-focused posters. So we provide guidelines. And these guidelines can be found on our web page, on the call for papers as well. On our webpage, we have a very nice section which is called Past Events. In fact, it's a library where you can find all posters and presentations from past events. So if you have a question, how should I make my poster, what is the format, where can I get some inspiration, go to the webpage, Past Events, and see some examples and make your own great poster. So what will happen with the poster during the symposium? Our team will print the poster, so we are taking care of all the printing process. You don't need to print it yourself. We will put them on the symposium level, symposium lobby level, where we are running the event. And they also will be exposed during the Global Summit, during the rest of the 2 days of the Global Summit. We also recommend the author that they stand close to their posters to explain what is the research about, what the project is about. So people, if they're interested, they come and see, and it will be nice to have the authors explaining their technology. So for today, you will see, you can find the posters in the lower level lobby. This is where symposium will take place tomorrow. And on day 3, it's going to be in the concourse lobby. Symposium breakout sessions of FTI.
You can find it on the website. We got
Yeah. So again, it's a part of the symposium, which start at 2:30 in the afternoon. We have 3 breakout sessions which are run in parallel. So you need to decide where you want to go. The schedule is available online, and we have hardware, software co-design, software-defined memory, and cloud service model. So please join these sessions. You can attend either the whole session or just see the presentation from different work streams. Now, we also have the prizes. We select the best paper per each technology track. So this year we are going to have 4 best papers in 4 different technological tracks, and they will receive prizes. We also have the best paper of the symposium that receives $10,000. You see the examples, the pictures from the last year. We had Cloud and Heat, who won the first prize, the best paper prize. And by the way, tomorrow, Leonie from Cloud and Heat will make her keynote, and she will explain the impact of her experience in the symposium and the impact from the best paper on the company and what happened with the projects since they received the award. And if you ask a question, how do we select these papers? So for the best technology track paper, we rely on the expertise of our program committee. So the program committee will decide what are the best paper among all the papers that they received for their specific technological track. Regarding the best symposium paper, we also include the recommendation from the program committee, but we also have the OCP team and FTS team who goes and review all the submissions selected for the symposium, and we decide what is the really, really best paper of this year's symposium. Sometimes it's a very hard decision to make. So we are running the award ceremony on Thursday. So this is going to be the day 3 of the Global Summit at 12:30 in the Expo Hall. So please join. You will hear the best papers. And by the way, only the papers who submit for presentation and posters are eligible for the prize. So if your submission was selected only for posters, unfortunately you are not eligible to compete for the award. And a couple of words regarding the next steps for the symposium. We are going to organize a Future Technology Symposium in Prague in April 18. This event is going to be EMEA focused, and we are going to have a curated content. So there will be no call for papers, but there will be a specific symposium program developed around 2 major topics: data center sustainability and artificial intelligence, HPC. If you have some great ideas, future technologies, and maybe focused on EMEA, come and speak to us. So what you can do today, how to get involved? So join us tomorrow, attend the breakout sessions, and follow us either on LinkedIn, on our webpage. You can have a lot of useful information. Sign up for our mailing list. and talk to our team. We are happy to connect with you and propose how to get involved.
So I can
Thank
see
you.
we're getting signaled to get off the stage, so I apologize for going over. And please grab one of us if you have any questions, and come tomorrow, please, to get engaged with Symposium. Thank you so much.
Tomorrow, 8 a.m.
8 a.m.